Imagine managing a project you know nothing about. Could you lead the project being confident, or would you allow fear and a lack of confidence to hold you back? You mind if I share a short story with you? I'll never forget the day I was handed a project completely outside of my expertise. My manager called me into the office. He said, "Edward, you're leading the implementation on a Microsoft Office 365 for the entire organization." I looked around the office like, I know my name is Edward, right? Last time I checked, he must have the wrong Edward. And then all of a sudden, my stomach started knotting up instantly. Oh, don't judge me, family. I'm just being honest. And then thoughts started racing through my head. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience, thinking to myself, how in the world, Jesus, take the wheel? Because I can't lead this team if I don't understand the basics. What if they know that I'm lost? What if they think I'm an imposter? Then I remember one crucial project management thing, and that is you don't have to know all the answers. It's about knowing how to find them. So this is the first thing I did. Point number one, identify and engage subject matter experts. Again, identify and engage subject matter experts. See, SMEs possess the specialized or technical skills you may lack, ensuring accurate estimates and informed decisions. Why is this important? It's important because early engagement prevents misinformation, or what I love to say, unrealistic planning. See, they're the reason why they are who they are, meaning the experts in their field, is because they can help you and the project identify potential pitfalls sooner. Here's my actionable tip. Host a kickoff workshop with your SMEs to validate project requirements and highlight potential risks or roadblocks. Point number two, conduct a detailed project kickoff meeting. See, a kickoff meeting establishes clear expectations, aligns objectives, and uncovers potential challenges. Why is this important? This is important because it ensures clarity and alignment from day one, reducing any type of confusion, as well as we set the team up for success and setting a clear direction for the team. Here's my actionable tip for you today, family. Schedule a structured kickoff meeting involving key stakeholders. Ensure the kickoff meeting is interactive by preparing detailed questions to extract vital project information clearly. Let me explain what I mean by that, because I've been guilty of this as well, is that I'll have a kickoff meeting and I'm like, oh, this is, and I start talking about the whole project and going for it step by step, but I don't make it interactive. And interactive meaning is asking probing questions. Hey, software development team, what do you think that we may be missing in this highlighted scope? Hey, networking team, what do you think from a networking standpoint? And again, no, I'm not going to hold you hostage to the answer, but I want to make sure as we started getting ready to build out and start collecting requirements, that we can have a high level approach so we can go to each one of you guys' department. That is huge, because you got to understand, people go from meeting to meeting. What makes your meetings different than any other meetings that they're going? So you want to do your best to make it as much as you can interactive. Point number three, define the project scope thoroughly. Being able to craft a detailed description of project goals, deliverables, timelines, and acceptance criteria. Sounds like I'm talking about a project charter, huh? See, this is important because without clarity of scope, you risk scope creep and, most of all, misunderstanding, and you waste your resources' time. And time is all as we know, is something we cannot get back. So a solid scope sets the stage for project success. Here's my actionable tip. Use a formal scope statement or a project charter and have all key stakeholders sign off on it before beginning any major work. Reason why I recommend having them sign off on it, and it doesn't even have to be a sign off on the actual document. It can be an email. They can say, hey, I approve the charter, or hey, basically I approve the charter, I approve the scope statement. You want to collect that. The reason why, if you've been paying attention to me long enough, you will hear me say this over and over again. Documentation beats what? Documentation is always going to be conversation. So when we're in these meetings and then someone says, no, the scope should have been this. You remember when I told you the scope? No, because I went to here's the email correspondent that you agreed that we were aligned. Now, I'm not saying that we have to keep the scope so static that if we have an external risk or internal risk or something comes up where we know we need to make a change, this is what we have change management for, to follow the proper process to ensure that we're aligned on the scope. But you'll have a lot of times where we'll be in a meeting and then someone will say, no, that's not the scope what I agreed on. And you're like, yeah, it is. All right, maybe I'm just telling my story. Point number 4, conduct stakeholder and project team interviews to gather insight. This is all about, family, about collecting requirements. Stakeholders and project team members often possess valuable insights critical to the project's success. This is why I'm always confused of why people don't want to invite certain people to the meeting. I don't know if they're going to be valuable. How you don't know this unless you invite them or you have a one-on-one meeting. If you don't want them to come to the bigger meeting, have a one-on-one meeting and start asking probing questions. Like I said in the introduction of this is what makes a project manager have the success. It's not about me knowing the answers. It's about me having the ability to ask the right open-ended questions to extract the information from someone. So it's important, again, because stakeholders and project team members' knowledge can quickly close gaps in your understanding. We know a project is what? Unique in endeavor. It has a beginning and an end, and it's temporary. It's not permanent. It's not an operational type thing where we go on and on. No, we have a start date and we have an end date. Here's my actionable tip. Schedule structured interviews early, documenting their expectations, concerns, and any vital knowledge areas thoroughly. You're probably going to say to yourself, because I know if I was listening to this today, you're going to say, Edie, you continue to talk about documentation. Yeah, because I always talk about it because of the fact of I misstepped and made bad decisions based off of somebody's word. And then it wasn't their fault because they went to another meeting and forgot what we discussed. So just to make sure we're aligned, you see, I threw a little extra emphasis in that. We'll make sure we're in alignment. Let's just document it, because I'm not trying to act like, oh, I'm trying to cover no, I just want to make sure we're aligned to what we're talking about here. So that way, in case of you have a lapse of memory, we can go back to the documentation which we agreed on, we both signed off on, and we're all aligned. Point number 5, set milestones and phase deliverables. You want to break your project into logical phases, each ending with a tangible deliverable or checkpoint. This is important. Milestones create a sense of urgencies and it enable a course correction and helps monitor scope. Here's my actionable tip for you today. In your project schedule, label each milestone with a target date and ensure each one has a clear exit criteria. Now, let me say something. For all those out there that call a project schedule a project plan, that is incorrect. I'm not saying that I'm the smartest guy in the room, even though I'm in the room by myself, but I'm just saying what I'm trying to say is I want to make sure we're clear on what the difference is, because what it end up happening is that if you say project management planning, you talking to an executive that knows project management inside and out, they may look at you like, so what, you about to bring all of these documents into our meeting? So understand, family, especially if you're new to this, when you're talking about milestones, when you're talking about tasks and dates and basically deliverables, we are referencing a schedule, project management schedule, and not a project management plan. Point number 6, foster a problem-solving culture. Whew. You know, the ability to have open communications about challenging, do you know how well that really brings the team together? Do you know how now all of a sudden, instead of us creating silos and we're fighting against each other, we're actually brainstorming solutions collaboratively? Wouldn't that be amazing? Just think about it. You have an issue that's come up and everyone gets in. I think in the agile mindset, they call it swarming or mobbing. Just think about just being able just to come together and say, hey, this is a particular solution that I think, and someone else says it, and then we start experimenting and testing it out. Okay, I'll digress. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. This is important, family, because when team members feel safe sharing issues and proposing fixes, risks are addressed more quickly. Now, we have to understand there's two, I'm going to speak from a very high level, 2 forms of risk. There's a negative risk and a positive risk. So when we look at negative risk, we look at it more as a threat. A positive risk, we look at it as more of an opportunity, but I digress. Here's my actionable tip. Model the behavior yourself. Stay calm under pressure. You see, I'm calm even though I'm sweating. Explore solutions objectively and recognize individuals who propose improvement. You want to celebrate those that have the courage. You want to celebrate those that have the fortitude to say, hey, this is what I recommend. And I don't know if it's going to work, but why not? Let's experiment with it and see. Because you'll have a lot of people that will sit on the sideline and they will point at and poke holes at everything that you're doing, but they won't contribute or they won't collaborate with you, because it would be easier for them to poke holes and not feel a part of the team if it goes wrong, than for them to be part of the team and all accept accountability and responsibility. But having the ability to adjust or adapt or basically pivot is really going to set your team up for success. Point number 7, stay flexible as well as adaptable. You want to recognize that priorities, technology, resources may shift. However, you want to be open to revising the plan, the project management schedule as circumstances change. Why is this important? Flexibility in unfamiliar domains help you pivot without jeopardizing project goals. Here's my actionable tip. Build contingency time into your schedule for critical tasks so you have a buffer room just in case if you have to handle unexpected challenges. Point number 8. Escalate issues quickly with a proposed solution. Message. This is one of those moments where I want to make sure we're clear here, family. I don't want to send you out, especially my new project managers, send you out and you're leading your first project. You run into an issue and you escalate it right away. And then you're looking like, why am I not getting a response? Or and you start having these why moments. Let me explain what some people won't share with you, but today I'm going to unpack it for you. You want to have a proposed solution. Just imagine if someone came to you and said, here's the issue, and threw it in your lap. It's like a hot potato, and didn't tell you what they've done so far, so you don't go down that same line of trying those same solutions. This gives you an opportunity also to look like because you're the leader of that project. So you want to ensure that you propose a solution that even if it doesn't work, that at least you didn't just make an attempt, but you experimented to see, okay, this doesn't work. Now we need to take this to the next step. This is important because timely escalations prevent small problems from escalating into major setbacks. Here's my actionable tip. Document the escalation with the team proposed solution. Establish a clear escalation matrix. That's important. What does that look like, ED? Well, it's very simple. Who do we contact? How and under what circumstances, and how do we contact them? As far as what is the medium? Is it a phone call? Is it an email? Is it a Teams message or a sign or whatever the platform you're using for a two-way communication? You want to make sure you have this, at least if you don't have it written down anywhere, that you know it. A lot of times I didn't have to have it written down because I knew with my escalation path, but there were certain times that I had to have it written down because I was like, that for this particular thing on software, that escalation path has changed because they want us to go in a different direction. So again, if you don't have it written down, no problem. What I'm recommending is just make sure you know who to contact, how and under what circumstances, as well as what medium, email, phone, or Teams. If I have an escalation, I'm going to send you an email. If they say, hey, they want to be notified by email, I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to give you probably about an hour, depending on the escalation. You don't answer the email, I'm going to give you a call. If you don't answer the call, then I'm going to shoot you a text message. If you don't answer so I want to make sure I cover every type of medium that is possible. I just don't lock in on one because I want to make sure if this goes left, that you cannot say that this team didn't do everything possible, because that was our job to make sure we did everything possible, meaning exhausting every particular solution that we have to get assistance. Would it be okay if I over deliver? I got just 2 additional points. This started feeling good to me. So here we go. Point number 9, develop a comprehensive risk management strategy. Proactively identify and mitigating risk, reduce project uncertainty, and enhances control. One of the things I see, especially my new project managers, they get into a rhythm when they get into their project and into their weekly calls, or however your calls is set up with the actual stakeholders and with your project team. That first agenda item should be risk. It should be risk and issues. Why is that? Because if you just have a checklist with, or your risk register with all of these risks, and you're not going over it with the teams, that means if a risk turns into an issue, how are you going to know? So you want to be able to have that going on a consistent basis. Every time you meet with the team, that's the first agenda item we want to talk about. We want to go through the risk and make sure to see if anything's changed, if there's any new solutions, or if everything is still staying the same. Why is this important? Because it safeguards the project success by managing potential problems before they actually have to escalate. Here's my actionable tip. Hold a risk identification workshop early, document, evaluate, and actively monitor risk throughout the entire project life cycle. Point number 10, empower your team with decision-making authority. I know what my seasoned project managers is out there saying, because we want to control everything. Okay, you're not going to sit down and have a moment with me. Let me share with you. Yeah, I want to control everything. And that's how I used to be, until I realized the power in delegating decisions. When I realized the power in showing people that I trust them. However, let me park here parenthetically, family, and let you know this. That is something that is earned. That is not just given. I'm not just going to throw a decision to you and you haven't earned it, because I wouldn't want you to throw a decision to me and I haven't earned it. What does earned decision look like, in my opinion? If you allow me to remix that thing, it looks like this. It looks like that you're being consistent. It looks like you're being committed, especially on technical items where you have technical things and you want to talk to. Because if I have a technical issue, I'm going to go to two different people, because I want to see if they're saying the same thing. If they're not saying the same thing, okay, we got a problem, Houston. We got a problem, Houston, because of the fact that something is off here. So I need to ask more probing questions. I need to ask more open-ended questions. But again, when you have a team, because there, as they talk about, Jordan talked about, I think it was a coach asked Jordan, he was like, there is no I in team. And Jordan said, but there's a me in team. Okay, but I digress. The point I'm trying to make here, family, there is no I in team. Seriously, we have to understand that we have a team that is there because they have specialized knowledge. I understand we've gotten away from that a little bit, where we think the project manager is supposed to have all of this specialized knowledge. Then what's the point of having the team? Because now we look, if we don't have specialized knowledge surrounding us, we can't have the success that we need to have as project managers, as well as supporting the team effectively and efficiently so they can have the success that they need. This is important because this reduces bottleneck and it promotes efficiency. You don't have to come to me on a particular decision. I do want to talk about the decision that was made, but you don't have to come to me. And this also allows that team member to really take ownership. When someone has ownership or something, when you're responsible and accountable for something, most of the time, I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time, what ends up happening is somebody really takes it personal and says, hey, I'm going to make sure that this happens. I'm going to make sure that the team doesn't fail. They are counting on me. You're right, we're counting on you. And we're expecting you to deliver. And if you're unable to deliver, don't sit there and be in on a silo by yourself or be on an island by yourself. Just make sure you come and grab us so we can support you, because that's what we're here for. Here's my actionable tip. Establish clear escalation criteria to know when teams should escalate a particular decision or when they can make a decision independently. We want to do this again because we want to make sure on things that are very independently to make a decision on, that they go ahead and do it. But if there's a decision that, hey, this may need a deeper dive, hey, bring it to the team, present your case and say, hey, this is the direction I'm thinking of going, and this is the reason why. All right, fam, I'm going to give you my final thoughts. I appreciate it if you stayed this long. I appreciate the opportunity today. Today, we uncovered some key strategies to successfully lead projects, even those outside your comfort zone. I'm going to tell you one thing about project management. If you get into this thing that I love, that I hope you fall in love with, called project management, plan to be uncomfortable. Plan to be in a situation where you're not going to have all the answers. Plan to understand that sometimes you're going to feel like, I don't know what is going on. But if you continue to walk forward, if you continue to put a step in front of each other, if you continue to have a front shield view to what is going on, I promise you, you will get through it. I don't play a doctor or a psychologist on TV to make that type of guarantee. So I'll just say this, trust the process. I can say that. I'll say if you make the commitment and make a decision instead of a choice, you have a better chance. Here's my 3 items and I'll let you be on your way. Identify and engage a subject matter experts. Like I said, the quicker you can bridge that gap can bridge your gap on the knowledge that you do not have. So surrounding yourself with experts sets you and the team up for success. You want to foster a problem-solving culture. When you create an environment where your team openly addresses challenges and collaborates effectively and proactively, you have ability to tackle issues head on. The last and final one, empower your team with decision-making authority. You need to trust your team with clear responsibility, allowing them to confidently contribute their expertise and take ownership. Family, I really appreciate it. Now, these techniques were very powerful, but there's even more that you can implement to have project success. And I want to value your time today. So if you're ready to take your project management skills and you want to personalize actionable guidance, just connect with me directly. I'm here to help you any way I can. And I appreciate the opportunity. I go by the name of ED for all you smart and intelligent folks out there. Hey, listen, that just simply means Ed.